think one of the things that has upset a lot of Leeds people, and I can see it through people I know, through social media, is people from outside trying to stir this up into something, that it wasn't.
Now, we're going to check the temperature, the mood, I suppose, in Leeds, in particular the Harehills district of Leeds, after you remember violence flared there a couple of nights ago. Leeds City Council now says it's conducting an urgent review of a family matter that sparked the rioting there. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has accused those who took part in the disturbances of audacious criminality and said they would face the full force of the law. Let's talk now to Peg Alexander, a journalist based in Leeds. Good morning to you, Peg.
Morning.
Morning. And first of all, we understand that West Yorkshire Police have made some arrests.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only just following the news like you are. And obviously, West Yorkshire Police said yesterday, and the council said yesterday, that they were going to be looking to follow up with as many people as possible and make as many arrests as possible. And obviously, people who were involved in that activity, they will expect the full force of the law to come on them. But I think one of the things we haven't heard about is actually all the people, and I've been watching this through social media, all the people, hundreds and hundreds of ordinary people, and some of the councillors and various other people who were out there trying to calm the situation and keep it really calm. And apparently a lot of people did that. Yesterday, there was a lot of people out on the clean-up, I understand, trying to help clean up the area and make things all right where there've been the disturbances. So we haven't really heard that story so much in the news.
No, well, thanks for highlighting that. We understand the Mayor of West Yorkshire, Tracy Brabin, has praised those in the community that have stepped up to help ease tensions and, of course, just clear up, as you say there. So the community kind of pulling together.
Yeah, that's been very much, what I would say from what I've been following on this, because unfortunately I've actually had COVID, so I've been stuck inside. But following this, there's been a lot of people talking about, as I say, how people on the night, there were counsellors on the night physically putting themselves in the way to stop more violence happening. Then, as I say, ordinary people came out, were trying to calm things down. The next day, cleaning up. And last night, for example, councillors saw the local MP, Richard Bergen, talking about the fact that they've been all day with community organisations, with different places. Richard Bergen posted on social media about how he'd been to a youth centre that was full and vibrant, people having a really great time and singing. So I think the thing about Harehills is, it is one of the most deprived areas of the country. And I was reading the statistics saying it's one of the most densely populated parts of Europe as well. And it is really densely populated, and it is an area that's got a lot of problems. But we don't hear about kind of difficulty or issues between communities or any of that. In fact, in this city, it's a really vibrant multicultural city, and generally we don't hear about those things. And I think one of the things that has upset a lot of Leeds people, and I can see it through people I know, through social media, is people from outside trying to stir this up into something, that it wasn't. I mean, I saw one thing, and I don't know where this commentator was from, but someone talked about it being a small town in the north of England with a population that was nearly 40% Muslim. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this is the third largest city in Britain. There's nearly 1 million people, population-wise, there's nearly 1 million people here. And there was these people, and of course what was happening was loads of people were jumping on this, and they weren't getting the facts right at all. And generally, Harehills as an area has got quite a big Muslim population, but it's next door to another area. It's got a really big Sikh and Hindu population, West Indian population. Generally, we are a city. Our fortunes going back were built on immigration from the Irish communities and the Jewish communities with the clothing trade. And, we are a city where it's really harmonious generally.
I mean, we understand the incident was sparked initially by a child protection issue, which we're not going to examine in great
No.
detail. But as you say, it's interesting what you're saying there, Peg, about people jumping on it, particularly through social media. I mean, some of them aren't even inhabitants of the United Kingdom, and it's
Yeah.
great for you to put the record straight. Just lastly for us, though, just for those of us that don't know Leeds very well, just tell us a bit more about Harehills, about the social problems you touched on there, about the housing.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Leeds, really big city. It's a very. They used to say Leeds was the economically most divided city in Britain. I don't know whether statistically that is still holds, but it is a city with a lot of affluence. The largest economy in the city region outside of London. All of that, a lot of affluence, but really as well, really deprived areas. And Harehills is one of them. It's in East Leeds. It's just sort of on the edge of the city centre. At one end of it, you've got St James's Hospital that people will know. Jimmy's, really famous hospital, and then Harehills has got real issues around housing. Most of the housing in Harehills is either housing association, private rental. A lot of it is quite old. There'll be probably quite a lot of people, I would imagine, who haven't got decent proper heating probably around there. Obviously it gets cold up here. Old housing stock. I heard it described yesterday by Councillor Mothin Ali as very much a kind of quite a transient area, and it is true. Harehills is one of the areas where people will often come in and then they might try and move out to another area afterwards. So it's quite a transient population. Lots of people go there when they first come to the city. I just was looking at some figures for Leeds City Council. Because it's the second largest council in the country, it's taken the second largest big hit on cuts. And this year alone, it had to make £64 million of its savings. But since 2010, it's had to save nearly £800 million. And when you've had to save that amount of money, they lost over 2,500 jobs since December 23. That affects things. That affects the services. And I think in recent times, money that went out for regeneration and development, a lot of emphasis was taken off those inner city areas. Levelling Up didn't deliver a lot of the money that we needed, and a lot of emphasis was taken off inner city areas. And areas like Harehills, they need the funding and they need the support, and now it needs money to help build community trust and build that back. And I know for years of working as a community development myself in neighbouring city Bradford mainly, but that takes money because it takes people and it takes time, and you've got to invest in it.
Well, Peg, thanks so very much for setting the scene there for us, for giving us all the background and describing there how the community is beginning to pull back together. And best of luck, by the way, with the COVID recovery.